But beyond that, hey, we've got a couple other items here to update. Let's kick it on down next to Columbia, Missouri. Haven't talked about the Tigers much. Last week playing CMU, whatever the hell however you say that. I had 20 people try to correct me and tell me how to say it. I do not care about Southeast Mizzou State, whatever the hell they're named. But Missouri took care of business. Now they go on the road to face a Boston College team. I don't know what to make of this team. Haven't really watched much of them play. I've watched some of the highlights here before hopping on the line. They're 3-0, which is certainly interesting. But they've not really played anybody. They beat Colgate 51-0, beat UMass 45-28, and Temple 28-3, those last two games on the road. Leave it to ACC teams to play at UMass and at Temple before getting to host an SEC team, but it is what it is. The Boston College rushing here, this is kind of interesting for Mizzou fans. They're rushing for 205 yards a game. And clearly that's a weakness of the Missouri Tigers, at least it has been up to this point. But maybe they've played, Kentucky. You certainly respect their ground game. Central Michigan, maybe with Jim McElwain. CMU didn't give much push against Missouri here, so we'll find out. I mean, this is going to be a real test, going on the road, facing a 3-0 Boston College team in the part of a country that Missouri hardly ever travels to. Boston College also averaging 41 points per game, only allowing 10. Again, the competition's been weak, so I don't know how much I read into those stats, but I certainly don't think this is any kind of gimme for the Missouri Tigers. I think they're going to have to earn this one if they're going to get the win on the road. And one of the interesting things here, Eli Drinkwitz was asked about, and I think it's it's not something that he'll have the answer for till they meet on Saturday, but it is a great question. Going on the road against a Boston College, they're going to be hyped up to host an SEC team. Missouri's going to have that target on their back. How's that affect the game? And of course, there's lots of issues. Maybe they got them corrected in the weeks since the Kentucky game, but Boston College certainly going to study that Kentucky tape and try to do the same things to Missouri. So that's is certainly on Eli Drinkwitz's mind here.
Eli, regardless of the opponent or where it is, when you're the SEC team going into a game like this, and you've experienced this on other staffs before, can you feel that energy from the other team of, we've got the SEC team in our building and we've got a chance to maybe make a name for ourselves?
Absolutely. Anytime you're playing against an SEC opponent, you're going to get their best effort and their shot. I mean, it's the best conference in college football for a reason. You get measured by your performance against SEC teams. They've got a lot of NFL caliber players that they know are going to, they're going to watch how they performed against the SEC schools as much as anything. And there's been a lot of trash talk between the leagues, so I'm sure there's going to be a little bit extra motivation on both ends and both sides. And so,
their offense has some pro-style elements. Can you compare it much to Kentucky, just from the NFL, influence they had there?
Yeah, I would expect it to be very similar. I mean, we struggled with it, so I would anticipate that they're going to copy exactly what Kentucky did against us and see if we fixed it. I know that's what I would do. So I expect pin and pools. I expect outside zone weak. I expect duo. Till you stop it, that's what you're going to get. So I don't think it's going to be a secret what they're going to try to do. I think it's a matter of whether or not we've learned our lesson, whether or not we have great leverage in the trenches, whether or not we have great hand placement, hands inside, whether or not we fit our gaps, whether or not we can protect our linebackers from allowing the linemen to get to the second level, whether or not we can force edges on the perimeter, whether or not we can keep contained. I mean, it's no secret how we got to stop it. It's just, are we going to do it?
So don't be stunned if this is one of the better games here in the SEC this weekend. Both the teams, I don't have the analytics in front of me, but they're within 5-6 spots of each other, and I'm talking nationally. So at least according to the analytics, this is a very, very tight contest, and it being on the road, you certainly understand why I think Boston College opened as a slight favorite against the Missouri Tigers. This should be one hell of a game here, and one Missouri really needs to get to build that momentum as they still try to climb the SEC East ladder and get into conference play once again after the opener there against Kentucky.